Science just proved your ancestors are haunting you. What if the ghosts that haunt you aren't spirits in a dusty attic, but memories locked inside your own genes? You might feel a profound, unexplainable sadness, a flicker of anxiety that has no source, a fear that doesn't feel like it belongs to your life story. For generations, we've called these feelings curses or family demons. But a revolutionary field of science is offering a different, and perhaps more unsettling, explanation. Now, the title of this video is intentionally dramatic, but the science it points to is profoundly real. It's called epigenetics, and it's revealing that the experiences of your ancestors, their hardships, their traumas, may have left a biological echo that influences your life today. This isn't about ghosts, it's about biology. And understanding it could be the key to breaking a cycle you never even knew you were a part of. Section 1. The Ghost in the Machine. The classic high school biology lesson paints a pretty simple picture of our DNA as a fixed blueprint. The genome, we learned, was the unchangeable instruction manual for life. But what if that wasn't the whole story? What if our life experiences could act as a kind of software that tells the hardware of our genes how to behave? This is the central idea behind epigenetics. It doesn't change your DNA sequence, but it can change how your body reads those genetic instructions. Think of your genome as a massive library. You inherit all the books, but epigenetics is the librarian. It decides which books are opened and read, which are kept on a high shelf collecting dust, and which ones are highlighted and dog-eared for frequent reference. These epigenetic marks are chemical modifications that attach to your DNA. One of the most studied is called DNA methylation, which can act like a dimmer switch on a gene, turning its activity up or down. Things like diet, stress, and pollution can all leave these marks. But some of the most profound marks seem to be left by trauma. This is where the story moves from biology into something that feels much more personal, a kind of cellular memory. And the big question scientists are asking now is, can these memories be passed down? Section 2. Echoes of the past. The scientific evidence. The idea that trauma can be biologically inherited has been controversial, but several landmark studies have provided compelling clues. It's really important to understand that this research is ongoing, and what we're often seeing is a correlation, a link, not necessarily a proven, direct line of cause and effect in humans. One of the most significant lines of inquiry began with Dr. Rachel Yehuda and her team, who studied the children of Holocaust survivors. They wanted to see if the profound trauma experienced by their parents had a measurable biological impact on their kids, who had not experienced the Holocaust themselves. The results were startling. The children of survivors showed altered stress hormone profiles, similar to what was seen in their parents and in other people with PTSD. Yehuda's team looked at a stress-related gene, in this case the glucocorticoid receptor gene NR3C1. They found that Holocaust survivors and their children both showed altered methylation patterns on this gene, suggesting the parents' experience was linked to a tangible biological change in their children's stress response systems. Dr. Yehuda emphasizes that this doesn't mean children are permanently scarred, but that a parent's life experience doesn't just die with you. It leaves a signal. Another crucial piece of the puzzle came from a tragic natural experiment, the Dutch hunger winter of 1944 to 45. During this time, a Nazi blockade cut off food supplies, plunging a whole population into famine. Decades later, researchers studied the health records of people who were in their mother's womb during the famine. They found these individuals had an increased risk for developing obesity, diabetes, and cardiovascular disease in adulthood. This is a powerful example of how the environment in the womb can shape long-term health. The epigenetic marks left by the famine were still detectable 60 years later. But here's where it gets even wilder. Some studies suggest that the grandchildren of the women who experienced the famine might also show changes in birth weight and health. This hints at a true transgenerational effect, an echo of that famine reverberating 2 generations later. It's worth saying, though, that this evidence for effects on grandchildren is highly debated and has not been consistently found, so the jury is still out. Section 3. The 3 streams of inheritance. So, how does this haunting actually happen? It's not just one thing, but a complex mix of at least 3 streams. Telling them apart is key to separating the science from the sci-fi. The first is prenatal programming. We just saw this with the Dutch hunger winter. A mother's stress, diet, and environment during pregnancy can directly affect the developing fetus. The fetus isn't inheriting a past trauma. It's living through the biological fallout of that trauma in real time, shaping its development for life. The second stream is social and psychological transmission. This is the kind of inheritance we're more familiar with. Families pass down stories, behaviors, and ways of coping. A parent struggling with unresolved trauma might be hypervigilant or emotionally distant, and that parenting style can shape their child's own stress responses. This isn't in the genes, but it's a powerful environmental factor that can absolutely make it feel like a curse is being passed down. The third stream is the most debated and the most profound: true germline epigenetic inheritance. This is the idea that an experience can actually change the epigenetic marks on a parent's sperm or egg cells. If these marks survive the process of fertilization, which normally wipes the slate clean, it would mean a biological memory of an event could be directly passed down before you're even conceived. While there's strong evidence for this in animal studies, the evidence in humans is still emerging and considered correlational by many scientists. The studies on Holocaust descendants are providing fascinating clues, but proving this direct line of transmission in humans is incredibly difficult. It's the combination of these 3 streams that creates the powerful, often confusing experience of intergenerational trauma. Your biology might be primed for a higher stress response, and your family environment may have taught you the behaviors that go along with it. Section 4. Breaking the cycle. Healing the ghost. This knowledge can feel heavy, as if we're biologically doomed to repeat the suffering of the past. But the most hopeful message from the science of epigenetics is this: if these marks can be written, they can also be influenced. The epigenome is not a prison. It's a dynamic system that responds to our environment and our choices. So how do you break the cycle? It looks like healing isn't just a psychological process. It might be a biological one too. Preliminary research is beginning to show that certain therapies may help regulate gene expression. A few small studies on veterans with PTSD have suggested that therapies like EMDR and cognitive behavioral therapy are associated with changes in the methylation of stress-related genes. This is early evidence, but it suggests that as we heal our minds, we may also be nudging our biology back toward balance. On top of that, lifestyle changes have shown a remarkable ability to influence our genes. Studies have demonstrated that practices like meditation, mindfulness, and regular exercise can have a positive impact. For example, some research has shown that mindfulness meditation may lead to a down-regulation of genes associated with inflammation. A healthy diet, good sleep, and strong social connections can also support healthy epigenetic expression. These practices can help quiet the genes associated with stress and potentially amplify those linked to well-being. The power lies in recognizing that you are not just a passive recipient of your history. You are an active participant in your own biology. By creating a safe, supportive, and healthy environment for yourself through therapy, community, nutrition, and mindful living, you are sending new instructions to your genes. Conclusion: you have the power to become a cycle breaker. By confronting and processing trauma, you are not only healing yourself, but also changing the environment for the next generation. The echoes of the past don't have to be a life sentence. They can be a lesson, a map that shows us where the healing needs to begin. What you do in your life has the potential to quiet the ghosts for generations to come. The science of epigenetics is still young, and there is so much more to learn. But it opens up a profound new way of understanding ourselves, our families, and the invisible threads that connect us to our ancestors. Which aspect of this science surprised you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's continue this conversation. And if you found this exploration meaningful, subscribe for more investigations into the science of who we are.